He seemed to have pretty humble beginnings. He had a really interesting childhood in Hope, Arkansas. He talks about that quite a bit. It's very eye-opening to the situation that he grew up in, and it seemed to have lots of early struggles. It shaped his commitment for public service and education further on in life by these struggles. And it appears that he went from extreme bouts of poverty to being somewhat well off, and vice versa, going back and forth. And that was really interesting to learn that from him. Second, there's a passion for politics in this book. There's no doubt about that. He really talks about an early interest in politics that he had, and he was inspired by figures like JFK. Obviously, the famous photo of him in the JFK picture when he was, I think it was an Eagle Scout or a Boy Scout, is in this book in one of the pictures, and I think it's pretty cool. And that allowed him to pursue a career of leadership and advocacy that the book talks about, which is pretty interesting. The third thing is his personal and political challenges that he had, right? He openly addresses his successes and failures. And I just find that really interesting. And more especially, he goes into the controversies, his impeachment, his personal missteps that he's had. And it's kind of cool, but to think about that someone's willing to go through that and write about those things. Because, like I said, you do that and see if you're a perfect human being as well and see what you come out with. But obviously, he was a leader of our country at that time. And the reason why I decided to read this book is when he left office, I was 5 years old. So I don't really recall or know anything about him. So that's the reason why I read this book, just to figure out what happened in his point of view. And it's like a POV book. And that's what I really loved about it. Fourth point was is a focus on policy and progress. So his presidency prioritized economic growth, healthcare reform, global diplomacy, emphasized collaboration and compromise. And I believe this book touches on it deeply, especially in the later part when he's talking about Israel and the Bosnian War and all of those kind of things and how the UN played into that. Yeah, it's very interesting, and I would strongly recommend reading that piece of it. It goes into extreme detail, which is fantastic if you're like that, just as like I do. And the thing is, the way that it's written, it's not boring. It's actually really engaging and entertaining. I actually never was bored reading this book, even though it is really long. Number five, reflection and legacy. He seems to be reflecting on lessons he's learned through his life and his career. And as we all do, that's very interesting, especially as someone as powerful as the president of the United States. It's very nice insight to have. Another thing is the resilience, empathy, and leadership in moments when everyone's doubting you or you. He just seemed to go with his gut instinct and those advisors around him. And as far as I understand, it seemed to turn out pretty well, even though he's accused of many different things that is not really discussed about in this book, and nor did I want to talk about it because I'm specifically talking about this book. So thank you guys very much. I'm going to leave a review of my books that I had last year. And if today's the day I earned your subscription, thank you very much. I appreciate your subscription. Please visit my Instagram page down below and also leave my Patreon down there if you're interested in that. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.